Welcome everyone. I'm Councillor Matthew Winnington, Cabinet Member for Health, Wellbeing and Social Care. The Leader of the Council has delegated the decision-making authority powers for the planning policy and city development portfolio to me for this meeting. As Councillor Lee Hunt, Cabinet Member for Planning Policy and City Development, is unwell and unable to attend the meeting. This meeting is being webcast to allow the public to attend remotely if they so wish. Please be advised that the public seating area is not in view of the camera used to webcast this meeting, and we have no one present anyway. If the continuous fire alarm sounds, please evacuate the room by the stairwells. Do not attempt to use the lifts. Please assemble in the turning circle at the end of King Henry Street, past the University's Park building. In order to comply with the Guildhall Trust Fire Marshal regulations, anyone who signed in at the Guildhall reception desk should sign out when leaving the building at the end of today's meeting. So I may draw everyone's attention to the fact that this meeting will be live streamed. Everyone speaking will be on camera. There's no members of the press or public, so I won't do that bit. And please, can everyone use their microphones and remember to switch them off when they have finished. So I'll just go around for introductions. So, Ian.
Good afternoon, Ian Maguire, Assistant Director for Planning and Economic Growth.
Good afternoon, James Harris, Senior Local Democracy Officer.
Councillor Ryan Brent, Drayton and Farlington Ward.
Thank you very much, everyone. Move swiftly on to the agenda. Apologies for absence. We have apologies from Councillor Judy Smythe and obviously Councillor Hunt, who is unwell. Agenda item 2, record of the previous decision-making meeting on the 9th of November.
Declarations of interest first.
I'll have that next. Oh yes, okay. It's different on my cheat sheet. So I'll blame James for that one. Declaration of members' interest. Any declarations to? No, and I have no declarations either myself. So record of the previous decision meeting. Those have been circulated. I don't know if you were there, Ryan. Yeah, you happy with those?
Yep, happy to agree them. Yeah.
Fab. Okay. Yeah. So that's approved. We don't have any deputations either for today. So, swiftly on then to agenda item 4, neighbourhood sill spending in Milton neighbourhood area. Over to you, Ian.
Thank you. So very briefly, as members will be aware, the 11th of October saw the making of the Milton Neighbourhood Plan that covers almost all of Milton Ward and a small part of Baffin's ward. That Milton Neighbourhood Plan is now part of the development plan for Portsmouth, and a lot of hard work by residents in that area. Relevant for today's decision, it does change the way SIL is administered in the relevant areas. In areas that are covered by a neighbourhood plan, rather than 15% being reserved to be spent as neighbourhood SIL, 25% is reserved. So that's happened already. All new developments since the 11th of October would be top sliced by 25% as they are granted and come forward for delivery. What this process is looking at is then how we engage the consideration of the stakeholder that is the Milton Neighbourhood Forum with an adopted plan, and how that plan can inform the decision making for that spending of the neighbourhood SIL. In brief, we've just included the Milton Neighbourhood Forum as a consultee. At the moment we consult the 3 ward members, whether it be in Baffins or Milton, and we'll now consult the 3 ward members and the Milton Neighbourhood Forum. If ward members don't agree that it is a good spend of neighbourhood SIL, then the Cabinet forms a place where that disagreement can be settled through arbitration. Same logic now, if either one of the ward members or the Forum would disagree, the Cabinet would have that same role. all decision makers, whether it be officers, the Cabinet, and indeed the ward members and the forum, when considering whether or not to support a SIL bid, should have due regard to the infrastructure priorities of the neighbourhood plan. And consequently, and you can see in the pack of papers today, officers have summarised what we think are the priorities. There isn't a policy that says these are our priorities. So we've gone through the plan and its evidence documents and extracted out those policy positions. That change to the procedure to include the forum as a consultee in decision making and to highlight the priorities that should be considered have been written into both the procedure note used internally and an outward facing guidance note, which is the draft guidance note appended to these papers as well. Both of those documents were sent out to the ward members in both Milton and Baffins and the forum for comment. There were a few questions came back from Councillor Sanders. They've been included in the papers, but no other comments have been received to date, and it therefore falls to the portfolio holder and you so in his stead to determine whether or not we should adopt this amended procedure and start utilising the forum as a consultee for future SIL neighbourhood spend requests.
Thank you very much, Ian. Ryan, do you have any questions?
Yeah, I've just got two questions really. So obviously on the report, the change of percentage from 15% to 25% of SIL has gone because of the Milton Neighbourhood Plan. Is that something that can be looked at for other wards, or is it just due to the neighbourhood plan, I guess is a quick question. And the second question, is there any way that any officers potentially could send out to full council the process of, to councillors of setting up a neighbourhood plan? I think Milton's led by a good example here, and if there is a process or some documentation, it'd be useful for all full council to be aware of that.
So certainly the 25% is defined in regulation, so if you have a neighbourhood plan made, then you get 25%. If you don't, you don't. So yeah, if anybody wants to, feels that's a big incentive for creating a neighbourhood plan, which is obviously the purpose of putting those regulations in, that would be encouraged in any ward or neighbourhood within the city. The process is in some ways very simple, but some ways extraordinarily complex. There's a couple of really good websites that take a step-by-step process from those bodies that have been sponsored by government to support communities bring forward neighbourhood plans, so we can certainly circulate links to those websites, which are probably the easiest way to give a plain English way of moving forward. That I can certainly ask our policy team to circulate that to members if you wish.
Any other quick note? Thanks very much, Ryan. Yeah, and just I think it's just worth reiterating, this is called the Milton Neighbourhood Plan, but of course, as Ian's alluded to, it covers most of Milton Ward and part of Baffins Ward as well. So it gives that real sort of understanding of that. I know what they like to call Greater Milton community, and so it does cover more than that. Can I just ask a quick question? So just to confirm that it's only those areas of those wards that are within the neighbourhood plan area where SIL is 25%.
Yes, so planning applications obviously have a red line around them, and if that red line falls in the neighbourhood plan area, then when that comes forward and the SIL is liable on it and they pay the SIL, 25% is taken from those. I would just clarify, because it was the point Councillor Sanders was seeking confirmation on as well. However, when SIL is spent, we are proposing that consultation is given to the 3 ward members and the forum anywhere in Baffins and anywhere in Milton, even in those areas outside of the neighbourhood area, to be blunt, just to avoid the circumstance, very unlikely circumstance, but the 3 ward members, if they were being consulted on a part outside the neighbourhood area, could empty out the entire pot, despite the fact it may have been generated by development in the neighbourhood area by being just across the line of what is largely an arbitrary line. So obviously this is a consultation to seek views. There's no decision making given to ward members or the forums. So it seems sensible to play the more precautionary approach to consult everybody on everything, even if the forum does potentially get consulted on matters in Baffins and Milton that are outside the area. They may have no comment because it's outside their area, but similarly infrastructure doesn't respect the boundaries of municipal wards and neighbourhood forum areas, and people obviously will move all the way around Greater Milton and beyond to receive the infrastructure that neighbourhoods still may well support.
Thank you very much, Ian. That's really helpful. Without further ado then, I'm very happy to approve the recommendation. So as such, that the updated draft SIL neighbourhood portion spend guidance notes Appendix 1 be adopted and applied by Portsmouth City Council. As I say, very happy to approve that. And that concludes the meeting today. Thank you very much, everyone.